All right, everyone. Welcome back to Goodwill Podcasting. I'm making my comeback. Alongside
Yeah,
me, as always, Dan and Stone. How we doing, boys?
Doing well.
doing good. I'm
How you
excited that you're
doing?
back, though. Yeah, how's
Yeah.
the baby?
She's been amazing. So, yeah, for the audience members that don't know, my wife had our baby girl about 3 weeks ago now, and she is the greatest thing ever.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, dude, the
We missed
funniest
you on
part.
our last episode, but we pulled through.
I've definitely been talking to Jacked a good amount. And since I wasn't on that episode, I'll voice my opinion real quick. Challengers wasn't as good as y'all said it was.
Ooh.
What didn't you like about it?
I didn't like that the whole movie felt like one big advertisement.
For what? Tennis?
Chanel, Mac, Wilson, Penn,
Well,
Gatorade.
that's like it's a sport. It's a
Gatorade,
professional sport. You got it. I mean,
Rolex,
they're athletes. That's how it works. It's like sports set in modern day eras.
which like is fine during like the tennis scenes, but like when they're in the hotel, the close zoom in on the Apple logo, like all of that, it bothered me so much.
I will say I listened to a podcast and they were talking about how this might be like a brand placement, like you're talking about, but that Applebee's they go to in Cincinnati, that if you didn't know, could come across as okay, Applebee's got money, and they might have, but I guess that is very accurate because that is a very famous location that tennis players go to because it's open so late after their matches.
Yeah.
So now I don't think all the brands in the movie are like that, but that's like a cool little tidbit that I've heard.
Okay. I mean, I've definitely been to that like stadium where they play at in Cincinnati. It's so nice.
There was a lot of product placement, I will say that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not wrong. But were you able to enjoy anything in the movie around it?
No, I did actually enjoy the movie. I just wanted to throw that tidbit in there. It's definitely. I think it's my second for Luca,
Okay.
with Bones and All being first.
Nice. Love that.
Have you guys speaking of brands, have you guys ever heard of Uniqlo? Ever?
Uniqlo?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big around me.
Yeah, Uniqlo. I think is it Japanese or Korean?
They're Korean, I want to say.
Yeah, it's like a weirdly aesthetically pleasing uh, clothing store that Connor, when you walk in, their walls are like their clothing. Like it just stacks up. You'll see like one little section is blue shirts, and it just stacks up all the way to the ceiling. And it's like that around the entire store.
That's
It's always
wild.
like plain, like basic colors. But the highlight of Challengers for my wife was the fact that that was on the I think it was on one of Art's clothing at the very beginning. She goes, "Oh, look, it's Uniqlo," and then she couldn't stop talking about that because she loves that store. But yes, that's the brand that stuck out to me the most because she would not stop talking about it.
I was wrong also. It's Japanese. The first store was in Hiroshima in 1984, and then it grew from there.
A wild store. She just likes going in for the experience. But Connor, that's fine. I've gotten like socks from there, and they ripped in like they're cheap, so they ripped in like 2 weeks. So
Hell yeah. I mean, I've got Nike socks that ripped in 2 weeks, so it might not be that brand.
How you guys ripping socks in 2 weeks? What are you doing?
I was just about to. Oh, you know what? Let's have this great conversation. Romance films today, but this is what also matters. I wear socks around the house, right? Is that what like wearing and tearing them down is the fact that I'm always just wearing them around the house? Like, should I put on
Yes.
slides? Oh, well, there you go.
It's 100%
It
is.
doesn't help.
Well, Connor, do you wear slides or like shoes or like why are your socks ripping?
I
Oh,
wear
that's wrong.
socks around the house. Yeah.
Oh, so you got shoes on right now, Dan?
No, I got socks on.
Oh, see, your socks are gonna go
But
too.
they're fine. They're holding together all right. I don't know.
I'm about to check mine right now. I don't even know if we got any hold on. We're good for now. These aren't Uniqlo socks.
No, but
High quality Vans.
what's funny back to me having a daughter is she's only been fussy like maybe 2 or 3 times. It's really great. Like she cries when she's hungry or like needs a diaper change, but that's about it. There's only been like twice that I can recall that she has cried and we can't figure it out. What calms her down is the Jurassic Park theme song.
Fun
That's kind
fact,
of awesome. I'm not gonna
I'll
lie.
say I walked down the aisle to that with
Did you
my
really?
wife. Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
What?
what do you
I mean,
what? Dan, what the hell?
No, this is just wild. Two wild pieces of information.
hey, my wife walked down the aisle to Anakin and Padme's wedding song.
That I remember. Yeah.
Dan, what movie are you gonna reference, Dan?
I don't know.
The
Probably not.
assassination of Jesse James.
Nah.
And then walking back was Dancing Queen, or after the like walking back down the aisle or up the aisle, I guess.
Dude,
Nice.
what was really funny is when we like were coming in for like the reception or whatever, like the party, we were supposed to walk in to bring him out by Ti. But like 2 minutes before Taylor was supposed to walk down the aisle, the DJ like ran back to her like bridal suite and was like, "Are you walking down the aisle to bring him out by Ti?" So we almost had a real funny hiccup there.
Speaking of which, of weddings, do you think that Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galetzi got married at the end of the Idea of You? Do you think they eventually got married? This 20, how many years passed at the end? Full
5.
spoilers. 5 years. So he would have been 29 and she would have been 45. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Conor, what did you think about the movie? I know Dan's thoughts. Dan posted a video. He's better than us. But what did you think about it?
I missed Dan's video. Overall, I enjoyed it, I would say. I don't know. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It felt like a very safe rom-com. I also think it's kind of funny that it came out in the time it did with all this, Hollywood like cradle robbing stories coming out.
I wouldn't say that this is a rom com, just like a romance film in general. There's not a lot of comedy in it, is there?
No, it's definitely a rom com. If you look up how it's classified, it's going to be called a rom com. Like, I think so, and it is a fairly light tone. Like,
I guess what funny moments are there? The fact that there's a big age gap, is that the gimmick? They could have had funny moments with a big age gap, but they didn't. I didn't like the movie. Just putting that out there, real quick.
what
But
didn't you like about it?
oh goodness, the draw of the movie is the fact that these two people are just hot, really, and sure, that can get people to watch it. I think they could have done more with that when it comes to the intimate scenes. They had like one. Um, but my issue is the amount of time they took on each segment. When they first interact, like when they first get with each other, it takes like a span of like 2 days. There's this whole long segment about him going to the art thing, and then he's like, I want to buy all this art. Sorry, I got get that accent out of there. But then, they go to another barn and there's more art. And then they go back to her house and it really doesn't work out. And then he's like, come to my hotel. And that's like 30 minutes, it feels like. And then all of a sudden it's this quick montage where you're supposed to understand that their relationship is growing and building, and you don't see that. All it is poor One Direction songs. And then the next moment you get to see the two of them together. It's, oh yeah, there was other girls, but they didn't mean anything to me like you, Anne Hathaway. So, and then it's so predictable, and there's no, I don't feel the fact that they like each other. They like each other because they're hot. I don't think they got married because, I mean, Anne Hathaway could look good for forever, and she has, but not Nicholas Galetzi probably. So I don't know. And then I thought they could have really had a lot of chemistry building when it comes to their age gap. Like she could have taught him things about the world and he could have taught her things about the world. And there's some interesting dynamic there that was really missed. And then all of a sudden it became about her being a bad mother at the end. And I thought it was just all over the place. And the emphasis wasn't at the story moments that it should have been at, in my opinion.
I don't think it's so much about necessarily the romance as it is about Anne Hathaway. Um, and I just think it deals a lot with like the way women are viewed, especially as they age. Um, and like the way the media kind of like grabs a hold of the story and like portrays her as this like the next Yoko Ono and like a cougar, like this and that, like all like just the way she's kind of labeled. Um, and I think the concept of her just like being allowed to be happy is just not like no one cares about that. It's just like a story, and I think it's a lot about like media hype and paparazzi and how like intrusive they are in people's lives. And I think it's interesting seeing like um, a mix of an incredibly famous person and an everyday person, and how that can go and how that can like really mess with someone's life. Um, but I feel like it's a lot to do with her and just I think it's interesting because you also see her husband leaves her for a much younger person. Um, and he's obviously able to do that. And I don't think he's portrayed in a great light. But then it's like, I mean, they directly address like, oh, when I do this, it's a big problem or like whatever. So it's like, I think and I don't think it like hands you an answer of like what's right and what's not, but you're just supposed to kind of see how you feel about it and go from there. But I think there was a lot more depth to the story than I necessarily expected. I just think the ending was stupid, and I think they changed the ending from the book, which
Did you read the book, or you just did like a quick
no,
synopsis?
I read a lot about it, and basically at the end, it kind of ends sort of when they first cut to black. When she's just like they finish talking and she's at home and she's like laughing and then she like slides down the wall and she's like kind of crying. That should have been the end of the movie. End the movie there, and I think it's like maybe a full star better movie. But the ending was just so fucking stupid and corny. And he's still famous. Like nothing actually changed. I mean, I guess what changed is her daughter isn't there. I understand that. But she's going to still deal with all the bullshit. She's going to still deal with the media. Like, it's not going to be that much easier. He's still clearly famous. So I just didn't understand the way it ended. I thought it was really dumb. But if the movie had ended on that first fade to black, I liked the movie a lot, actually. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
You stole exactly what I was going to say because I think flashing forward 5 years, I think kind of took the movie down for me a bit. I will say I think I went into this movie though with a bit of a bad taste just because I like one of my least favorite movies I've ever watched was Purple Hearts with Nicholas Galitzine in it.
How much military stuff they get right in that movie?
Nothing. Literally, my review on Letterboxd and TikTok says it feels like someone wanted to make a Marine Corps movie without consulting with a Marine.
That's the only thing I know about that movie, and I'm glad I remembered it because I was like, I bet there was zero that was correct.
Well, it was funny because my wife, on a little tangent here, my wife wanted to watch it because of all the hype around it on social media, but she understands like military jargon and like kind of the life and everything. Because I mean, her ex before me was also a Marine, who actually I introduced her to. But so she understands like kind of the whole life and everything around it. So she even thought it was horrible and like was laughing the whole time. It's very laughable to me.
Dan, what do you think? What year did that movie come out? 2022, probably.
I think that was two.
What,
That in your
Purple
top?
Hearts?
Yeah, is that in your top 10, Dan?
I haven't seen it.
It could be though.
It could be, yeah. You never know.
I had such a frustrating moment where like with the way that things are paced in this movie, like I said, it takes so much time at the beginning, is that it's so quick when the daughter's like, hey, I can do this. This is fine. We'll get through it. I'm glad my mom's happy. So quickly, like a 5-second montage of paparazzi. All of a sudden it's like, Mom, I'm so stressed out. I can't do this. And it's fine. I'm like, that should have been a longer amount of time. Like that should have taken away from their first interaction that took 2 days or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's like she goes to school, right? And it's like there's so much bullshit at school. She's like getting all these different like people saying all different things to her. It's like impacting her life. And I think maybe she didn't realize like the extent that it would be associated with her and like that.
Show me that bullshit though. Show me her defending her mother, and over time, like it's just too much.
I was gonna say
Rather than
cut the concert scene in the beginning in half because that just kept going, and then show me more of the daughter like kind of going through this at school.
Also, I think you had said about different kind of life experiences and stuff. I think it does like a decent job of showing kind of like their different perspectives. Whereas he's like, I feel like as soon as he meets her, he's kind of like just like throwing himself after her, and she's very much like she's not mad at it, but she's kind of like, come on, like what are you doing? Like this is just a waste of time. Like I feel like she has a perspective of like this is kind of stupid and like this is pointless. But he's like so, and even when he goes to the art gallery, like I feel like that attitude of like, oh, I'll just buy everything to like impress you and this and that, like, and she like gets mad at that, which I really liked. She's like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't like a joke. This is like people actually want this stuff and value it, and like this is people's careers. I think like that scene I liked a lot. And I
Let
don't
me.
know. I feel like she kind of comes around. I feel like her attitude changing towards him was paced pretty well. Um, but I hear what you guys are saying around maybe they could have changed how certain the amount of time delegated to certain things. But I liked that she wasn't just immediately like, "Oh my God, you're like, so famous," like blah blah blah. Like I thought it was good in that way.
I was gonna say I really like that Anne Hathaway felt like real in this.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yes.
mean, her car is messy when he first gets in. Like her house is kind of a wreck. Her fridge doesn't work. And like you said, her entire monologue where she was like, "People actually want this. Like, don't come in here and try and just flex." Like, I
Yeah.
think that's what made me like her character a lot in this.
It was a
Amy,
great. She has a great character. I think like it's a very likable character that like you want to see succeed, and that's so important. And I feel like that fail like watching anyone but you like Stone. That's how I feel like how you said about that. Like that movie is nothing.
I'm halfway
Like
through it right now, actually. Like I just turned it off to come record.
yeah, man. Like I don't care. I don't care about either of those people.
I will
I
say
just
something that Connor mentioned that's a big issue for me. Like with my problems that I think could have been fixed. I think this movie was too hard trying to be both a good romance film and then also include way too much music. You can date. I know he's a pop star or whatever like that, but you don't have to include all of that. And I think it was just a way to sell a soundtrack. Like, I'm looking at it right now. There's a whole album by Rebel or not Rebel Moon, by August Moon. So that's like unnecessary. Like you didn't need. There's like probably 10, 15 minutes maybe of this movie, maybe that's a stretch, but that of that's music and them performing. And I guess I get the scene of him looking at her and it plays in later with, he sings that to all the girls, stuff like that. I do understand that, but I guess mainly, like I said, a main issue I had was that segment where you're supposed to understand that their relationship has grown and you don't see that. And instead it's here's Paris, here's Australia. Yo, being, rich in One Direction like is sick, man. I gotta take Anne Hathaway with me. I mean, I guess that's in play with how that lifestyle is supposed to feel. But I feel like that I missed out on a lot of character interactions when it came to that.
yeah. I feel like that kind of sequence did a good job at showing you like how much of kind of a whirlwind it is, and like how to him that's just kind of like his everyday life, but to her it was like just something she kind of got swept up in. Another thing I did like was I like that you don't get I mean you don't get a lot about different band members, but I feel like you get a good enough snapshot of like kind of what they're like and like some of their different attitudes. And the one guy seems like a real jackass, and I feel like they portrayed like that kind of person pretty well. Um, and how like that's the people he's spending time with and like traveling the world with. So it's probably easy for him. Would have been easy for him to just like be the same way. But I feel like he kind of like differentiates himself as like a better person, or like you see him like trying to not be in that mindset. If that makes sense. But I kind of would have liked to see more about the other guys a little bit.
I'll say you did your research on this, and this is not Harry Styles fan fiction, is what we found out.
No,
Was that the author or the director that said that?
it was the author. So she did a whole, and I actually think if you guys have the time, read the piece she wrote about the story because it's really really good. She talks a lot about a lot of different things. She talks about
What's her name?
the author's name is it just popped into my head. Robin Lee. And let me actually find, if anyone's listening to this and they want to read, I have to look and find this. But basically, it was the Independent, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, if you go to the Independent, you can find the actual interview. But anyway, she kind of talked about how this gets labeled as fan fiction, and she thinks that's basically like incredibly lazy and almost like disrespectful. Whereas like if a man writes fiction about like a story, people take it seriously. It gets reviewed seriously. It gets like um, viewed in a critical light, like appropriately. But when women write something, she feels like a lot of times it gets just put in a bucket of like not as serious or goofy or fan fiction or whatever. And it's like she was like these characters are each based off like an amalgamation of people from that I've met that have been famous, etc. Like this isn't about one person. And the story is saying a lot more than it's not just a dumb romance. Like she was actually trying to say something with the story about like kind of what I talked about earlier about like women aging and how they're viewed and how they're treated. And like I just think, you know, when I heard it was a Harry Styles fan fiction, I expected it to be garbage. And I didn't think it was when I watched it. So I understand her point of view. But she also talks about like Barbie a lot and stuff from last year, and she talks about how she kind of feels the same way about that, where like she just doesn't feel like it gets the same respect or viewed in the same light as other stuff. So it's an interesting read.
So people just like assumed it was based on the context of, I guess, the male character of the film,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
in he's
basically,
British and in a 5-member boy band traveling the
yeah,
world.
yeah,
Interesting. One thing you said you noted the characteristics of the band members. You thought they were very interesting. Something that I noticed was that he is the only member of the band that is British. And I put on my letterbox review. It reminds me. It just fills the stereotype that I have of that British people are cooler just because of their accent. I don't know why, but or more attractive because of their accent. And Anne Hathaway, not a bad thing the guy got. So not a bad woman, not thing. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
easy. But yeah, I mean, I think both their characters were likable enough, which is like really what I look for, like some kind of relatability, some kind of feeling like a real person. I think often rom-coms now, like people don't feel real, conversations don't feel real. And, even like you said, Connor, about her, like that scene at their house, it just felt like she felt like a real person that would just be like, yeah, I'm not ready to have this fucking pop star in my house, but like, here we are. So
Yeah.
I liked it. It's not, I won't watch it again, most likely, but I liked it more than I thought I would. So,
Well, I want to kind of go off of what Stone was saying about like how it felt too fast, like kind of flashing through like all the different countries when they were traveling. It feels like that's kind of how Anne Hathaway's character would be, though, because she even talked about it in her past. Like she was young, she fell in love, she had a kid at a very young age. So, like, and then they didn't really allude to anything that she dated in between her divorce from 3 years ago and now. So she kind of only knows fast, like dating almost. Like it's what she knows.
yeah. And I think she feels like someone that's probably like focused on her career. And like she has a big job that probably takes up a lot of her time. Like, she seems like someone where like she put kind of her own happiness like on the back burner in a way, or like it just wasn't a main focus. Plus, I mean, she also clearly got like really fucked over by her husband. So I'm sure that came with a certain amount of like damage emotionally and whatnot. So
Yeah, I had a big issue, like you said, with the ending. How the fact that he's not a D-list star.
yeah,
There's
it,
one
it,
important scene, like maybe people could think that, but one thing that stuck out to me is that he's on the Graham Norton show.
yeah,
And earlier in the film, we see Adele on the Graham Norton show. So even if they're trying to get across, maybe not. I don't know. He's really not. So none of their problems are fixed. Like you said, that ending is not good. Should have cut off. That really confused me. But it's
yeah.
whatever.
I loved the ambiguousness of how it like because you don't know. I mean, you can read the ending if it ended before, however you want, whatever's going to happen. But also, it could just be like these two people met each other, they really liked each other, it was something cool, and then maybe life just moves on, and that's just life sometimes, which is fine. Like that can be the ending. So, um,
I will
yeah,
say,
I don't know why they did that.
I think it was. Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's fine, but I thought I didn't. I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah,
Connor, I know that you have some strong thoughts about our next movie. So, did you like the idea of you better than The Notebook?
That's a tough question.
Oof,
Maybe I might say yes if I rewatch The Idea of You.
interesting. Interesting. Why don't you like The Notebook?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I hate The Notebook, but one, I I think the movie drags aggressively hard when Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling aren't on screen together. And then also, what people don't talk about in this movie enough is the fact that Ryan Gosling is fucking creepy. Like, if you don't cast like two of the hottest people to ever walk the face of this planet, this movie's creepy. Like, I told Taylor this when we were watching it. Replace Gosling with like Javier Bardem. It's creepy. He hangs.
That's good. That's good.
He hangs from a carousel, well, basically almost committing suicide, just until this girl says yes to going out with him. So he's just pressuring her. He writes her every day for a year. He like builds and paints an entire house for her and doesn't do anything like without thinking of her for like I don't know the time frame they're not together, like 10, 12 years. It's fucking creepy.
I will say it is the 1940s, so probably there's a lot of dudes back then who weren't socially appropriate, I guess. So maybe that could be a sign of the times, but I totally agree.
I feel like threatening to kill yourself unless someone goes out with you is stretches beyond socially appropriate. But
Mental health, maybe a little bit.
yeah, there's some concerns there. I'm not sure.
Do you think if Dan did that to Rachel McAdams, what do you think would happen?
I'd fall to my death.
Yeah. I'll restraining order against him forever.
Yeah, I'm not that athletic. I'm not that athletic.
Like if it wasn't Ryan Reynolds, anyone else is getting a restraining order.
Ryan Reynolds.
Or Ryan Gosling.
Do you imagine if this was Ryan Reynolds? Oh god, that would be awful.
Not a chance. Ryan would never.
Even worse. Which is so funny because like a year and a half ago, I posted on TikTok that the male community should stop saying Ryan Reynolds is daddy and that it should be Ryan Gosling, and everyone like shit on me on that video. And now look at everyone. Society's coming around.
Ryan Reynolds just
phoning in, especially if you watched If. I know me and Dan have, and you haven't, Connor. But if there's, I think it's also Krasinski's writing. There's just nothing to him. There's literally nothing.
Something. I swear to God, something very artificial about that movie. Like big, just AI. Like the designs, it doesn't feel human. And I don't know how else to say that. People are like, "Oh, this movie made me cry. It's so What made you cry?" My guy is in. I feel like John Krasinski might have like faked being in the hospital. Like it doesn't even explain what happens. He's just like chilling in the hospital in full nice clothing every day. His daughter's visiting him. He has an IV. He allegedly has to get a surgery, but it's just make believe. There's nothing. I feel like he's faking being in the hospital so that she will have the experience.
It's all make believe.
It was so funny because I was scrolling.
That was my reading of the movie. Like,
I was scrolling TikTok last night and I saw one, and this guy was like, "I haven't ugly cried at a movie in a long time." I was like, "Oh, maybe this movie's like better than I thought it was going to be." And then I scrolled, and the next video is Dan just shitting on it.
Hey, my video surprisingly did really well, and it's just a review. I don't, and it was funny that we're talking about The Notebook. Did The Notebook make you cry? No. But there's seven. I was like, there's 7 people in our theater, and when the emotional stuff is very forced at the end, there was a child weeping, and I was half feeling bad, but also really funny at the same time. Like they were like, me and Lee are like, oh my god, it was crazy, and he cried so long, and but it was at the perfect moment. So maybe because he cried for that amount of length of time, maybe it was about something else. Like it didn't sound like a tantrum type of cry, but good Lord.
Stone, do you think that like there's that scene where the nurse, who's the woman from The Bear, who's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. That was out of all the cast, Matt Damon. I was most excited to see her.
Yeah, but she's talking to John Krasinski, and she's just like, "You have to stop this." Like, I feel like he was faking being sick so that she would go to the grandmother's house and have this whole experience with the imaginary friends. Is that a what was that conversation?
I don't know.
He has to stop what?
Someone commented on my video and said that this story is about instilling in a child how to cope with trauma in a way. I don't know. There's like you may maybe. I mean, there's no context to why he's in the hospital. He's there for a broken heart surgery, which broken heart syndrome is actually a real thing, but I don't necessarily think that that's why he was in the hospital as well. He does have normal people clothes on. That is something you can do in the hospital. It's really if you're there like for chemo, but for the surgery, like how long was he in the hospital?
Dude,
That's
that's what I thought when he first came out with the IV, and it was I was like, okay, he has cancer, he's getting chemo. That's what I thought was happening, but then it's like
he's there for
the
a
movie
surgery.
doesn't. It's
Yeah,
just so fucking weird, man. That movie was it's real
exactly.
bad.
I think John didn't think about any of that because he just was trying to somehow force a lot of emotion on the audience, and that just felt very fabricated. So, Connor, it's not form your own opinion. It'll be on Paramount Plus
Yes, stream
in
it.
2 months.
Do not go to the theater.
I imagine I'll probably watch this in about 2 years when my daughter can understand a little bit of movies. And I'm just like, fuck it, we'll throw on If like one early morning.
For 40 minutes, she might cry, and then the imaginary friends get there.
And also, I mean, the Foster's Home for like imaginary friends. It really is just a fucking ripoff of that, with a little bit of like Toy Story and like
That show was amazing.
it's just fucking lazy. It's not.
Hey,
I'm
I
sorry.
love that show growing up.
Yeah.
I think everything involving the Notebook was put really well together, unlike If. But I will say I was disappointed. I watched this for the first time before jumping on here. I know I threw Dan the idea of a classic romance film, and I haven't watched too many romance films, to be honest. But I was like, The Notebook, I feel like is one I wanted to watch for a long time. Everything is very well paced in a way, but nothing surprises me, and everything's very generic. And I was told that that's how a lot of Nicholas's Sparks like novels are. It's just a basic, average, typical love story. Like he's poor, she's rich, the family doesn't like him, all of this stuff. I was like, okay, I think this is a common, like I could come up with kind of romance story. Nothing really surprised me. The only thing that is unique to this is the aspect of the older and couple. He's reading to her. That's the only thing. The Notebook, right? But one issue I had with it, I thought it was fine. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I agree, Connor. The beginning is great because Gosling and Rachel McAdams are together. Chemistry is off the charts. Love seeing them interact with each other. But when that leaves, you can feel it. You really can. But one issue I had was there is a segment where the older gentleman is reading to her and the kids come up and they're like talking to her. She's like, "Hi, nice to meet y'all," all this stuff. But then she leaves and they say, "Daddy, Mama's not going to remember us, or she doesn't remember us." I feel like that took so much away from the ending because at the end, there is a little bit of suspense. Like, is she going to choose James Marsden or Ryan Gosling? I don't know the characters' names. And then it's supposed to be like a big reveal that she chose Ryan, but then you were told that like an hour ago. So I did not like that inclusion of that, even though that's the one thing that kind of sets this movie apart.
I
And I
mean,
don't like seeing old men cry, so that really got me.
do you really think there was? I don't think there was ever. I don't really feel like it was ever framed as suspenseful as to who she was going to end up with. Like this movie was never going to end with her. Like you know what I mean? Like
Imagine if they weren't married and he chose to do that for her. And where's her husband at? And she has dementia and he's not there. And he comes and still is in love with her and knows that she's in this home, adding on to the creepiness of Ryan Gosling's character, and reads to her about their love story because he is still, emotionally invested in her. And those are her kids with James Marsden. That, hey, that is a better ending than this movie is. That would have been because exactly like you said, you would have been expecting them to be together at the very end, even though it was revealed, like I said, blah blah blah. Imagine if they weren't though, and that shows how much he loved her. I mean, maybe that paints Rachel McAdams' character in a bad light, like she didn't fall for him or be with him. But I feel like she had pretty good reasons, and she really cared for James Marsden. It could have been like a whole young love type of story. Like we really did love each other, but we're different now, stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Put me in the director's chair. Put me in the writing room. That's a story. That is the Notebook right there. See, Dan's typing it down right now. I'm gonna steal my idea. That's exactly what I thought.
No, I just
That's a good. Is that good?
No.
That's a good idea.
I say kind of flip the script. Have her choose James Marsden's character the entire time. Let the audience believe the entire time that that old man reading to her is Ryan Gosling's character.
Wait, I'm confused.
So she goes and like maybe like has her fling with Ryan Gosling after she's already engaged, but then in the end she chooses James Marsden's character and like still goes through with the marriage, marries him. And this whole time you're thinking that that old man reading to her is Ryan Gosling's character and they grew old together, but then instead we find out in the end it was James Marsden.
No, that would
Then
not
it's
have been good.
I like that idea.
But
I
no,
like both of your ideas for different reasons.
they can't like them the same. But like that totally defeats the purpose of Ryan Gosling at the beginning. I feel like James Marsden might have had to been there at the very beginning. I love how we're trying to rewrite this movie from 2004.
Yeah, to make it better.
Say, Dan, how do you like the Notebook? You haven't said yet. Oof, big blow right there, man.
I mean, it's really, really well acted. I think the aesthetic of the movie is really, really good. I think it kind of pulls you into like the time and the place, and you do get invested in the story. I don't know. I don't like either of the characters very much, to be real with you. They both seem pretty unstable generally. Like, to be completely honest, I feel like the people I like the most are Lon and Martha. The two people they kind of screw over. So I don't know. I feel like
Is Lon his buddy that died in the war?
no, Lon is Marston.
Oh, my bad.
And Martha is the woman that he ends up with for a little bit.
That was very interesting. I liked her dynamic. The whole like, I found out what I want. Basically, her husband died in the war, and she was hanging out with Ryan Gosling, and then she saw the connection between them and was like, "Man, I want that," kind of a thing. That was interesting. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, like you said, it is kind of very formulaic. With all the stuff about her family, his family, it's fine. I think I give it 3 stars as well. But I don't know. I think they're both. I mean, she's like hitting him a lot and stuff, and he's stalking her. So it's just like I don't know about this movie.
Connor, this might be a little bit TMI. Do you and your wife fight a lot? Me and my wife don't. Listen, me and my wife really don't fight. And Ryan Gosling's like, "It's a wrap. We yell at each other. That's what love is."
I mean, if we want to go down that rabbit hole, I think our last like big fight was last summer, and it was over. It was over nothing.
Was it over food? It's usually over food.
No, I don't remember what it was over. It literally, like we talked about it like a day later, because like I'm a big advocate for like I think sometimes like you're just too mad, like you just need a day to cool the fuck off, but literally like we talked about it the next day, and like my grandma had passed away like the month before. Her dad needed a heart transplant. I got fired. Like everything was just lining up that it was just like the stressors of life, and we were just the closest person to take it out on. We weren't actually even mad at each other. So no, do not fight like that.
I think. I mean, I feel like the Notebook just kind of pushes forward a lot of like really old school, old fashioned ideas about like relationships and gender roles and like
Harrison Bucker.
Yeah, good segue. It's just like very toxic and just kind of like annoying, but then it's like, but in the end, it's all happy. But I don't know. I think the stuff in terms of like the present day with them being older, like is effective and like it does work. And they are, I mean, they are very young in the story. So it's like, I guess a lot of the stupidity can just be chalked up to that.
He's a stalker because he's young.
Yeah,
You
but
know these young guys.
it's definitely weird, man. Like, you just change around some of the music in the first third. It's like it's kind of a horror movie.
Yeah. Change Ryan Gosling to Javier Bardem from No Country
Yeah.
for Old Men.
I said when you said the aesthetic looks really good of like 1940s, I agree. But two things I'll disagree are two things I noticed was that there's unnecessary green screen that's very noticeable being from 2004. Like the first shot is of like CGI ducks. I'm like, what is going on right now? And then the weird war scene in the middle. I don't think they needed to show that because it didn't look good. And you're supposed to feel for this like buddy of Gosling's, and I really didn't. But then also, especially towards the end, I think there's like this segment where the older versions of the couple is like sitting in this diner, and behind them is like a sunset. It's supposed to look really beautiful. It's very bad green screen. It's terrible green screen. It does not look good.
I think you can
So
chalk some of that up to when it was made, though. Like,
yeah, but
they
you
only
got to
had so
think
much
about it.
money to work with. It's
Just shoot at nighttime. If you don't have a sunset, you don't have a sunset. I don't know.
no,
And
I hear you.
but 1940s though looked good. Besides the CGI ducks, and it's crazy too because they ended the film on a shot of real like geese or duck flying in the air. I was like, where were those at the beginning? I wanted to say though, something that's been on my mind is Ryan Gosling's been in his last two films very physically fit. And even my dad watched The Fall Guys, like, man, that Gosling's a beast, ain't he? You know? So I think he did something in this movie that stuck out to me that was so athletic. There's that scene where they're very intimate and he's pushing her up against the wall, they shouldn't do this. She's with Marsden, blah, blah, blah. And his pants go down to his ankles. And he picks her up and walks up the stairs. Now, that in itself, maybe in my heyday I could have done that, but we'll see. I don't have any stairs here to test it
I
out.
don't think that's physically possible.
How old are you?
What?
Were
No,
you
no, no,
out
no,
for
no.
payday?
So, okay, that doesn't matter. But he not only did that, but he's walking up the stairs with his pants around his ankles. And that's where I agree.
You
That's
can't
not
walk up
physically.
steps with your pants around your ankles. I physically don't think it's possible.
I'm gonna
So-
find a way to do it, and I'm gonna post it on TikTok for you.
It's the Gosling challenge. Like this could go viral, man. Everyone's trying to do the Ryan Gosling notebook challenge of carrying your significant other. Now make sure you have a good insurance policy on them probably when you do it. But
Yeah, life
up the
insurance too.
stairs, yeah, up the stairs with the pants around the ankles. And it's funny too. Obviously, he probably really didn't do it. But when you get upstairs, his pants are still around his ankles. So that is what they're implying is that he did that. I'm just like,
That's
out of the
crazy.
entire movie, that's what I remember the most. I was like, with the pants, like that's pretty crazy. Not gonna lie.
I also think it's a little weird. Like, not that it needs to be a main point, but like I feel like there's nothing about race at all in this story. And given that we're in the South in like I mean, I don't know. I think that there is subtlety because it's like I think it's made clear that like Gosling and his family like hang out with everybody. Like they're always kind of with everybody, and I feel like her dad is very much like Colonel Sanders, and everyone's sitting around wearing white at these parties, and they have like black servants, and it's just like I think it's like subtly there, but I don't know. I think it could have been
Maybe
a
if
little
his
more
friend,
clear. I
maybe
don't
if
think
his
her
friend
family
who
was very
died.
likable at all, and I think they could have like leaned into that more and shown a little bit more like what they would have been like actually.
Do you think
Her
that would have
dad?
helped push the story though?
Yeah, because like I mean her family just is not likable at all. Like, and I don't even really like the fact that like I feel like her mom gets like a little bit of a redemption, and I don't know. Yeah, what do you guys think about that scene?
I actually think it kind of takes away from it, like the ending scene where Gosling's doing the whole like "What do you want?" speech, like "Quit doing what your parents want." Like it felt like that was her finally giving in and dating Gosling because her mom also did this. So it still wasn't what she wanted. Like she got the approval from her mom because her mom kind of had a past with like a rough guy.
So she's still doing what her mom wants. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of how it felt to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like that conversation with her mom at all. Like, I just don't think it works on any level. And like again, they're not good people. Like you hear the way they talk about him, like clearly they think they're like better than everyone. I just
Yeah. What they could have replaced that scene with is maybe like before his dad died, like maybe his dad giving him a talk about like how to move on or something.
Not a bad idea. I like that. I would say when you talked about there being no, diversity in the film, possibly could have added it to an element that I didn't like was maybe make Ryan Gosling's friend, you know, black or of another.
yeah, I don't even mean like I need more diversity in the movie, just like
There's no conversation. Like that stuff is just the usual.
nothing is said at all
Yeah.
about anything, and it's just like I don't know. Again, I get big like Colonel Sanders vibes from her dad, and like it's just I don't know. It's just something to note. But that is a good idea. Like I think that could have been interesting just to show like Gosling is a much more normal and like grounded person than like people in her world, I guess, is what I'm trying to like say.
I did like, even though they're not very good people, whoever played her father, his accent, I really liked that. With his little mustache. I don't know, Dada.
The mustache is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, his accent, I really liked it too. I wish I could do accents, man. I tried to do British earlier. We'll see if I get any backlash for that, but I'm not going to attempt to do this one because I just like it. I'll just keep it at that.
I think it's very, very Georgia.
So,
But
was this your first time watching it, Dan?
no.
Okay. My first time watching it was, I think, in 2019. Funny enough, because where I was stationed in the Marine Corps was Havelock, North Carolina, this little like nothing town. But there's this like small town that's actually like really beautiful. And I think like some small movie, like some small town based movie should be shot one day because it is gorgeous there on the water. And it's known for two things. It's in New Bern, North Carolina. It's where Pepsi was founded, and it's where Nicholas Sparks' studio is. So I actually like met Nicholas Sparks when I was on a date with a girl, and
Oh damn.
so I was like, I've actually never seen the note. I would have never knew who Nicholas Sparks was, but she recognized him, and so like I talked to him for like maybe 5 minutes. And then that night we went home and watched the note. Yeah, I watched it with her that night. So,
I'm assuming she's a big reader then.
yeah.
I have no idea what Nicholas Sparks looks like
Yeah.
at all.
Well, he looks like a very normal dude, but yeah, his like office or whatever you want to call it is in downtown New Bern, and it's like a very small, cool little town.
Let's see. Oh yeah, he's kind of normal. He looks like an older Ryan Gosling.
Also, this so this was shot in Charleston. And Gosling, I mean, I think both of them lived in Charleston for a while to get into their characters. So like Gosling was like building furniture and rowing around on the river and all this shit. And Rachel McAdams like took all these etiquette classes and ballet, and like she her accent is good. She had a dialect coach, which was really, really good. But I'm reading about this. They couldn't fucking stand each other.
Yeah, I just
for a while to the
yeah.
point where he wanted her replaced, and he said that and made it publicly. And the director basically took them in a room and said, "We're not leaving until you figure this the fuck out." And then they ended up dating in real life after this. So
yeah,
are they still dating? Are they still
No.
dating?
Just with Ava Mendes. So
No, there you go.
yeah, but
That was bad.
interesting because I mean, very much seems similar to their dynamic in the movie. So
maybe the director knew that was going to happen. He's like, you guys should like stay in a room or be around each other a lot. That way the characters are really authentic.
Which, speaking of, like, I mean, as much as they didn't like each other off set, like their chemistry on screen together is pretty good.
Pretty good, especially the scenes where they're fighting. Yeah, those felt really realistic.
Well, now maybe we know why.
So many actors that don't like each other. They always have big heads.
Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Yeah, just talk about it. It's fine.
I don't think anyone's going to be able to fix things with The Rock with his ego.
Also, this was originally going to be a Spielberg movie with either Tom Cruise or Justin Timberlake. So
my money would have been on Tom Hanks. I'm surprised you didn't say that.
Did you know Spielberg was originally like in contention to direct Pirates?
I'm glad he didn't.
Well,
I think those movies are perfect. First
well,
movies, well, I don't know. Anyways, carry on.
I saw a
I love
TikTok
that
about
first movie.
this the other day, and it like made me dive down a rabbit hole. But apparently, the first person looked at to play Jack Sparrow was De Niro. Um, and then when like Spielberg was in contention, he looked at, I think it was like Christian Bale. There's a few others, but
It's
yeah.
funny that I say it's funny that you say De Niro. That automatically makes me think of the fact that I don't know if he's done this in any other movie, but the movie Stardust, he plays a pirate in that movie.
Well, that's why he turned down the role of Pirates because he didn't think it would be successful at the box office, which apparently is why he took Stardust after seeing the success of Pirates.
That's honestly hilarious.
It's insane, and I don't know, like that movie and like Lord of the Rings, insane how much thought and detail and practical, effects go into all of that. I used to watch the bonus features of Pirates of the Caribbean all the time. It was just so fascinating.
Have you guys seen the Britney Spears audition for this role?
No.
For the Notebook,
It's really funny. Go watch it. It's funny as hell.
I thought we were talking about Jack Sparrow still, and I was like, oh, I see why she wasn't cast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is
No.
Disney still pursuing redoing the Pirates franchise with Margot Robbie?
Oh, you didn't see the new news, did you?
I did not.
Austin Butler,
Supposedly Austin Butler, which is
which is awesome.
smart, which is smart, very very smart.
I
There's
kind
gonna be
of
people out there saying like, "Oh, don't do it," like it's a franchise, but he's gonna get paid, and I think people are gonna go see it, and I think he'll do really well.
I
I
also
agree.
I don't think I've seen a Pirates movie after like Orlando Bloom left.
I watched the fourth one when it came out in theaters, which I believe my memory knows this is 2011, which was Stranger Tides. But then I never watched Dead Men Tell No Tales. Was the
It's
fifth one?
bad.
Oh. But they brought back Barbosa. I can't remember the Geoff Knightley. What's his name? The guy who plays Barbosa.
I don't know. While we're on the topic, though, has anyone had a better career, like start to their career than Orlando Bloom?
Probably not.
I mean, he got Lord of the Rings while he was still in acting school, then immediately went into the Pirates franchise. Like,
He was so fucking wasted in Lord of the Rings, man. I talk about this all the time. Like, the one thing they fucked up in those movies is Legolas. I've always felt that way. His character sucks. Like, Orlando Bloom gets nothing to do. He's not interesting. They just turn him into this like one-dimensional. I just don't like that character very much. He's a great character in the books, and he just gets turned into like nothing. And I understand he was young and all, but
He's
I just don't
thriving
like
now,
him.
though. He's
What?
thriving. He's in Gran Turismo.
I like Orlando Bloom, but also I think his best role is probably Kingdom of Heaven. I love that movie so much.
He's the
so
star.
good.
He's the star of that movie, right?
Yes,
I haven't seen it.
Jeez.
dude, please go watch it. But the
That movie-
director's cut.
Fun fact is when I was doing the stuff for the Fall Guy thing, and the fact that the Fall Guy opened up, and I called it an original film because even though it's based off of a TV show, and a lot of people told me that they copied like zero from the TV show. It's the fact that it's a stunt guy and he has the same name. That is the only thing they copied from the TV show.
Yeah.
But all the fans of it came after me randomly. But I was going to say the last movie I believe that was not a franchise movie that kicked off the summer was Kingdom of Heaven. In 2005 is when that movie came out.
Yes. 5.
Yeah. So fun fact. Yeah, but I don't think that also
It's-
did well at the box office. But
It's so good. Oh, you're telling me a 2.5 hour long movie about the Crusades didn't do well at the box office? That's insane.
yeah, right. Especially in 2005. I'm very curious. Just speaking of that and like genres that we don't get a lot, I'm really curious to see how Horizon's going to do. All the Yellowstone fans coming out to see Kevin Costner.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
Open Range is one of the best westerns ever made, and that was him. So I'm excited to see him go back. That's your next assignment, Connor.
I'm literally adding it to Letterboxd right now.
Yeah.
I said we'll see passion projects though. I mean, Megalopolis. I don't know. This is
Yeah, but I
Costner's
think
passion
Costner
project.
knows. I think he knows how to make a western.
Mm.
Yellowstone is not bad because of him, or didn't become bad because of him. Became bad because of the writing. So yeah, I'm real excited. And Open Range is an all-time western, like I said.
I also just added it.
I don't know if it's going to beat out The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for me. I fucking adore that movie.
Yeah, it's not that, but it's in terms of like modern westerns, it's really good.
Okay.
Recommend that. Do you guys have any last thoughts on the Notebook?
I'll say,
Weird.
speaking of genres we don't get very often, we really don't get romance films anymore.
Yeah.
I will
I
say,
mean, this one got put on Amazon Prime.
right now in my movie like watchings, I think romance might be a top 3 like genre for me. I like romance movies.
So do I. Yeah.
There's just not a lot of. I mean, I guess I haven't watched a lot of them, but there's also none that come out for me to because I watch as many current movies as I can to get attuned to the genre itself. But
What'd you
I,
guys?
I, I also just think it's struggling because I mean we've talked about it a lot, but I think writers are struggling right now, and I think a lot of bad writers are getting a lot of work, and it's just not a priority because I think a lot of times I'm very anti visual. Like I don't care that much as much about visuals in movies. I want good writing and I want good characters, and everything else is secondary. I know that's probably not popular, but like
I'm with you.
I just I don't know. That's how I feel. So I hope it gets better because again, stuff like Anyone But You, like it's just NPC dialogue from characters we don't care about with a fabricated conflict, and it's a nothing movie. So I don't need any more romances like that.
If you want to watch a worse one than Anyone But You, watch Your Place or Mine from last year.
Okay. I also need to watch that fucking Ghosted movie. I don't know if that's a romance, but
I think so. Dang, that was terrible. I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's terrible.
yeah, I'm
it
gonna
could be a
watch it.
masterpiece.
So how do you guys rate The Notebook?
3 stars.
Great.
Yeah, I gave it a 6.1 out of 10 or 3 stars. So
And your rating system is wild to me. The 9.9s and
I actually just recorded one last night to kind of break it down because you kind of brought that up on a previous episode.
1.2.
Everyone has such different. I saw someone the other day rated a movie 3.5 out of 5, and they said it was bad, and I was like,
I saw your comment on that video. It's like, so did you not?
No shit. I just was confused. I'm like, but I think everyone views. To me, that's a good movie. That's a good score.
Yeah.
But some people maybe it has to be a 4, or maybe it has to be like whatever. It's funny how everyone has different.
So the idea view was also a 3 for you.
I gave it 2.5.
So it's average. It's an average movie.
But like I swear to God, if they change the ending, it might be a full star increase. It might be a 3.5 star movie for me.
I actually might be on board with that as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like that.
Connor, Me After You, right? What do you? That's your film you're talking about today.
Before we go.
Oh, before we go, sorry.
Yeah.
Romance films names can be sometimes similar. What do you have that rated? I'm very curious because obviously you're passionate about it.
So, yeah, I know why you're asking because I assume you looked it up.
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. So this is very well like not critically acclaimed. A lot of people don't like it. Like I know Tyler Whitmore, he gave it a 1.5 star.
Damn.
So I'll say the movie is Chris Evans' directorial debut, since you haven't seen it. Basically follows our 2 characters, Alice Eve and Chris Evans. And he's like playing, I think it's the trumpet in Grand Central Station. And we see her like running and she drops her phone and it like breaks. That's our introduction. And she's like basically trying to get back to Boston. She misses her train. She got her purse stolen. So now she's just kind of stuck. And Chris Evans is trying to like just kind of make sure she gets back to Boston safely. Because basically she left her husband a letter while he was on a business trip and she was on a business trip she was going to divorce him. And she's realized she's made a mistake. She wants to get back to Boston so he doesn't find the letter. And yeah, it's not very well critically acclaimed. I think one of the reasons I love it so much is I have a very strange connection to it. Is when I think it was 2019 or 2020, one of my best friends, like in life, like we've been friends since 3rd grade. He went to Ohio State. I obviously went in the Marine Corps, and we were both home around like Christmas time. And he's like, "Yo, have you ever seen this movie?" I was like, "No." So we like turned it on and like watched it while also like just splitting a bottle of bourbon. And it's just like one of the happiest memories I have watching a movie. And like him and I have watched it a handful of times after that, just like sitting around catching up on life because now he lives in Denver. So we like see each other maybe once a year now.
Sweet.
That's, I think personal connections to movies like that really help. I mean,
Well, yeah. What's that movie that came out last year? The romance movie, Past Lives. Like why I really liked it versus you didn't like it. You know, because it was like childhood friends that became. Well, I guess they didn't end up together in the end, but still, it's like how Taylor and I started. Like I connected to that movie.
yeah.
It might be why I like Manchester by the Sea more than you, because I watched that movie. No joke, the day after my grandma passed away last year. So I was already in like a not great emotional state. So I
Yeah.
think watching that, like, I just connected with it more.
Yeah, with Past Lives, I really enjoyed it. The memory I have with it is that my wife didn't care to see it, but she came with me and she was really tired and she slept. And it was only the two of us in the theater. So that was a
Can't
good
blame
memory.
her.
That was a good memory. Oh, damn.
But yeah, no. So before we go though, like, it just kind of shows them like both of them are broke. Well, she's not broke. She just doesn't have her purse because it got stolen. He's broke. He has like 3 credit cards that are either maxed or just don't work. Just trying to figure out like how to get her home safely or like where to like just kind of crash for the night. And then he's got this huge audition because he's a jazz musician for a band that he loves in the morning. But now he's like trying to make sure she gets home all right, and he's like going through a pretty bad breakup. I overall love the movie, but I know like most people do not.
Yeah, I mean, I think the audience score is a lot better than the critic score, which I think is encouraging for a movie like this. Do you know where
Those where you
people
get to
can
look
watch
at
it?
the most. Yeah, where are you going to watch?
It bounces on and off. For the audience, I don't even think you can rent it right now. For you two, I've actually bought the movie on our podcast's YouTube if you just log in.
Oh.
So I just it's on Tubi and it's on Roku and Pluto TV and Freevee.
And Prime
But
Video.
My understanding you can only rent it.
You have to rent it on Prime Stone,
Oh, really?
but you can stream it on the others.
Okay. I think though, like one of the most impactful scenes in this entire movie is like it's probably like 3, 4 in the morning at this point. And they're like just wandering through the streets of New York and they stumble upon this psychic who's like probably 80 something years old. And I think like the conversations they have with him are like the most impactful scenes in the movie and some of my favorite scenes like in most movies.
Is he a real psychic?
I don't think so. He kind of like they make a like comment when they first get there. He's like, "Aren't you supposed to have like a crystal ball or something?" He goes, "That's just for like semantics." He's like, "All I really do is look at people's body language." He's like, "And I kind of tell you what I think your future holds." And like I said, like I mean, so she has a husband back in Boston, and he like looks at her body language, like next to Chris Evans, obviously, and he's like, "It looks like you're at a crossroads. You don't know whether to stay what you're comfortable with or go with something new."
I want to get a reading from a psychic so bad. I'm just curious. Like, what are they going to say about me that I don't already know? Kind of a thing.
I'm also curious. I know my mom, who's going to listen to this episode, like is huge on all that. She just hosted like a party with like 6 or 7 of her friends at her house the other night, and had this like real big name psychic come over and do readings for all of them.
That's a sick party. That would be a cool. If I went to a party and there was a psychic there, I would have a great time.
All right,
Especially if I
mom.
was drunk and they were telling me stuff about myself. I'd be like, whoa, you know?
All right, mom. If you're listening to this, when Stone and Dan come visit Cincinnati, we're gonna have a psychic party.
Can you imagine? Like,
I'm
I don't
down.
post on my Instagram story at all. If I walked into a place and there was a psychic story and it was Connor and Dan, I would go, oh. Yeah, that's going on. Not even the burner account. That's going on the main one.
I've gotten my palm read one time. That's my only experience.
What did it say?
It was very generic.
Oh, you will review Miller's Girl on TikTok and not enjoy it. And Jenna Ortega will see your video. Nothing like that.
Have you guys watched that movie? I don't remember.
No, I didn't really find a whole lot of appeal to it.
Yeah.
I don't watch bad movies. I try not to watch bad movies. I have better things to do with my time.
Dan, I think when we get off of here, you should definitely, or not Dan, Stone, you should definitely go watch Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus.
Absolutely not. I know I like the Meg, but me liking the Meg. I don't know what I gave it. I think I gave the Meg 2 the Trench. No, is it called the Trench? I think it's called the
Yeah,
Trench.
it's the trench.
I gave it 2.5 stars. So it was a good time, one time. Never will think about it again, but I'm a fan. But yeah, that's not my genre that I usually seek out, even though I defended
No,
that movie.
I definitely growing up with my mom all the time, we would just watch horrible movies and laugh. Like I've watched The Velocipasture.
Nope.
That looks funny, actually.
It's
Oh, I actually
entertaining.
might watch that.
The whole movie is on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
So you know it's good.
All right. Dan, you want to take off next or Stone?
You go ahead.
What's wrong?
You go ahead, Dan. I didn't get a chance to revisit mine, so my memory's kind of a little foggy on it. So you can go
Yeah,
ahead.
no worries. I wanted to talk about It's a Wonderful Life, which calling it a romance is not really accurate, but at its core, it kind of is. Because I think the romance in the movie is kind of what holds it together and what keeps Jimmy Stewart's character going. I think it's the best Christmas movie of all time. I don't think it's remotely close. Um, and just Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed, like their chemistry is really, really good. Um, it's just like a sweet story, and it's kind of a similar thing where they meet when they're really young, and then um, end up kind of going their separate ways for a bit, and then they meet when they're a bit older, and it kind of kicks things off, and they're both kind of like in unsure places in life, and it's kind of a similar thing to what we talked about with the Notebook, where like her mom kind of like isn't really about him and kind of looks down on him, um, but it doesn't stop them, and neither of you guys have seen the movie, so I don't want to like ruin anything, but
You didn't
I
have
mean,
to tell me. You didn't have to tell the audience that.
no, Stone has definitely seen the movie. He hasn't seen it in a while,
Yeah.
but but yeah, it's just a very sweet story, and I think just kind of like their love for one another is one of the things that kind of keeps him going. But it's also very much a movie about like not taking what you have for granted, whether that be any element in your life, but like the people you love, your family, um, and your wife and kids and stuff like that. It's a very universally appealing story, and like it'll never get old. Um, and I think no matter what stage you're at in life, you can like watch it and take something from it and appreciate it. So I just think it's a special movie, and yeah, everybody should watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, not me. I don't know why, but I watched a lot of classic horror movies that I hadn't watched in a really long time. Last October, and I don't know why. I think maybe I started to try to do the same when it came to Christmas in December. So I eventually might have gotten to the It's a Wonderful Life, but I clicked on National Lampoon. What is it?
Christmas
Christmas
Vacation.
Vacation.
Yeah.
And I did National Lampoon. That's like a series of films, right?
Yes.
Yes, I think I wasn't prepared for how unique they are and the comedy and stuff like that. So I have to revisit that because I stopped it. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but it surprised me and I wasn't invested yet. And then I just never came back to it. I guess like that just distinguished or extinguished my watching Christmas classics.
Yeah, I mean, I would say It's a Wonderful Life couldn't be more different from Christmas
Yeah, I know it's probably
Vacation.
different.
But yeah, it's streaming on Prime Video, Roku, Hoopla, Freevee, Plex. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, just watch it.
You use that Where to Watch app? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to
Just watch.
I downloaded it on my my phone, but not my iPad here. But the reason why I said that Connor's film was on Prime Video is because Freevee is like an attachment to Prime Video. So when I ever look up movies and where they're at, I always look at Apple TV, the app, and usually Apple TV will tell you. So that's why I was like, check Prime Video, and then I went there and it was like Freevee, and I was like, oh, I get it now.
but yeah, I just think It's a Wonderful Life is just kind of like about appreciating the small things in your life, and whatever it is, things that make you happy, and just their romance is great to me. So that's my pick. Also, Meet Joe Black.
Meet Joe Black. I might do it here soon, but I'm thinking about writing something about the way everyone recognizes the fact that Brad Pitt eats in all of his films. And the one that kept popping up was, "Man, I love that peanut butter. Give me that peanut butter." Just slurps it all down and Meet Joe Black, man.
The way
Which is
Brad
so
Pitt
funny because,
eats in all
like, sorry, go ahead, Connor.
I was gonna say the way Brad Pitt eats in all his movies is the same way Leo is wet in all of his movies.
Leo's wet a lot. I guess the one that pops in my head is Titanic, but
Yeah.
The most unfortunate.
Find me a movie where he's not wet.
Probably The Aviator.
There's a whole like stand-up comedy skit about this.
is he wet in
Catch
what's
Me
that
If You
movie that
Can.
came out on Netflix? Don't Look Up. Was he wet in Don't Look Up?
I actually
Quick and the Dead. Gangs of New York.
I'll pull it all together. I definitely said that without having all the information in my head to back it up. I'm gonna
Wait,
defend him on TikTok now.
Catch Me If You Can. Does he get wet in Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, rain.
No, see, that's just a cop out. That's not wet. I'm talking
Inception,
about
he falls into the tub. That's true.
There you go. We got one. I can't think of all the wetness of Leo right now. That didn't sound good, but you know, changing topics.
There's no judgment here, Stone.
But yeah, in Meet Joe Blackstone, I like the peanut butter thing because if you had never tasted anything in your life and then you had fucking peanut butter, like it is delicious, and like I can understand just being obsessed. It's very funny.
Fun fact: I don't know why, but growing up, I didn't like peanut butter, and how I like transition. Hold on, how I transitioned myself into liking it as I started enjoying Reese's peanut butter cups. I was like, "Oh, this shit's good," and I was like, "What's that? What's that taste in there? I don't know." And then eventually, that
What's the
got me-
taste in this peanut butter cup?
I was I was a
It's
child.
literally in the game.
Well, and then I warmed up to creamy, and I don't know if I've ever eaten crunchy peanut butter. I don't. I think
It's delicious.
I love crunchy.
Damn.
Dude, literally growing up, like if I wanted a snack, there was times I would just go open the jar of peanut butter and just spoonfuls.
I want to do that right now. You guys make me crave it. I got a huge jar because I put it in my dog's Con toys and then freeze it, and then they, lick it up and keeps them calm for a little bit.
My wife makes fun of me all the time because my go-to snack right now at night is I dip Cheez-Its in peanut butter.
Yeah,
Cheese.
Cheez-Its.
Oh, okay.
He takes a block of cheddar cheese and just dips it in smooth peanut butter.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, holy, okay,
I mean, that would be good too, to be completely real.
You never just take out a slice of Havarti and just.
Cheez-Its though, I guess that would be good. Mine goes like, I guess peanut butter Ritz crackers. Ritz are good.
It's literally just like those crackers you can buy in the store that are the orange crackers with peanut butter.
It's just sweet and salty. It's just and then crunchy and smooth the consistencies mix well together too.
All right, Gordon Ramsay. Speaking of Europe, you guys want to talk about my movie?
Yes.
Europe being that Gordon Ramsay is from there. I thought that'd be a good transition.
Yeah.
You tried. We all saw it.
One of the best things that's come out of starting social media talking about movies, I guess, is someone a long time ago recommended me Sing Street when I had this challenge I was going to do where people are going to recommend me movies and then I like make a video about every single one of them. That lasted like 4 videos. It's fine. But
I've been thinking about doing that too.
It's not bad. I mean, it's like the movie club thing, but just get to watch as many movies as possible.
Should we all just recommend one movie for each other to watch this week to make a video on?
It's not a bad idea.
I'm down.
You guys should see Sing Street. Sing Street's it's really well received critically. Beautiful movie that's set in 1980s Dublin. It's a very simple story that's very executed very well. It's just a boy who has a crush on a girl. So he's like, okay, and he's way out of her league, and I think she's also a little bit older than him. So he's like, how can I get this girl to, fall for me? And he's like, I'll start up a band. And I think she wanted to be like an actress. So he gets the idea if he starts up a band, they're going to do a music video, and he can put her in the music video. And he asks her if she wants to do that. And she's like, sure. And then they form a really good relationship that's, carried out through many musical numbers because they're a band. Let me just tell you, the music, rather than the idea of you, the music in this movie is top notch and really fucking good. It's really good music. It's like pop rock, indie pop rock in a way. Maybe I'm getting that genre wrong, but that's what it sounded like to me. The only reason it's a crime that it didn't win something. I'm wondering, when you guys look up if any of the songs from this were nominated when it came out? I think it would have been 2017, like best original songs. The only way, if it wasn't nominated, if it didn't win, is because the exact same year La La Land came out, overshadowed it
So
completely.
at the 2016 Critics' Choice Awards, "Drive It Like You Stole It" was nominated for Best Song.
Like good song. That's like the best song. It's got good music, but then like in a weird way, kind of like not talking about romance but relationships. This kind of transitions like halfway through the film. You're not going to realize that it does this, but even more than the relationship between the two of them, the main kid and the girl, is a relationship between him and his brother, and they bond over music and the way their life has been, and he like helps her out, or he helps him out. The older brother helps out the younger brother at the very end in a very touching way. um I don't want to give anything away, but basically the our main character wouldn't have been successful if it wasn't for his brother, and because he does have that older brother dynamic, it's like, hey, I never got to do what I wanted to do, but I love you, and I think you can really do something special. So I'm going to try to help you out as much as I can, even though other people aren't. Really touching. I remember my letterbox review was the fact that I said this is how me and my brother are, but with movies. Like him and his brother were so passionate about music, and all the performances are great. This is from John Carney, who I keep on preaching his name a lot because I feel like he's a very underrated director. Oh, I just saw he has a new film coming out that I think is going to star. Hold on, I'll look it up real quick. It's Nick Jonas, which is very interesting because I know Nick Jonas, his track record when it comes to movies. Paul Rudd, and Nick Jonas. It just got announced that that's who's going to star in his next musical comedy, because that's his specialty. Is he's done this. He has a movie that's an Apple TV Plus original, which I feel like Apple TV Plus is movies are usually pretty good, or the quality of their films.
He did the movie once too, right? That's famous.
Once, and then also the big one that a lot of people know is Begin Again, which
Yeah.
has Mark Ruffalo, Keira Knightley, Adam Levine. But yeah, this is his specialty, and I think he does a really good job as a director and a writer to incorporate music in his. It's like the music helps to push the relationship, not only because it's good, but also because what it means and the moments that it happens. And I feel like that's what was really missing for me in the idea of you, because there was so much music, but besides the scene at Coachella, I thought it was kind of pointless and it didn't have really a purpose besides describing the fact that he's a musician. And I feel like he's very good at writing narratives around different types of relationships as well around his films. Like Flora and Son is about a woman and her kid, and randomly, it's set in Europe, but randomly she FaceTimes Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which I wasn't expecting in that movie. Um, but yeah, I think he's a really underrated director who has a style that he's really good at. But his magnum opus, or his best film, is definitely Sing Street. Out of all the ones I've watched, I have not seen once. That's the only one I haven't seen. But all of them are pretty critically well received. But yeah, I think Sing Street is really, really special, and just in general. But there is a romance in there to fit with our topic of
And
our.
he's an Irishman, so
There you go.
W.
Yeah, and that's like where all of his films take. Oh no, Begin Again takes place in New York, but like Flora and Son, and then obviously Sing Street. But good film. That's the one I'm recommending this week to you guys. Maybe not. I'll find a different one, but I feel like I put this one on your radar
I'll watch it.
already. It's good. We're gonna like it a lot. I'm telling you. I can't expect you guys not to like it. But yeah, romance. I need to watch more of them. Like, this is the best one I could come up with, and there
Have you
is
seen-
romance in there a little bit, but
Have you seen The Big Short?
yes, and that was the same director as The Idea of You, correct? Do you know that?
I haven't
Wait,
met-
the Big Short. Am I thinking of the same one? Is that the one with Camille Nanjiani?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same director as The Idea of You. Fun that you mentioned that.
Wait, is that The Big Short?
Guys, The Big
The Big
Short's the
Sick.
stock
The Big
market
Sick.
movie.
Yeah.
The Big Sick.
What
Big
the
Sick.
fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Stone understood what I was saying.
Yeah, I did. I also didn't think the title was correct. That was right. It was close though. The Big Sick.
I said it and I was like, wait a minute.
That's a good movie though.
Yeah, that's better than The Idea of You. Correct, Dan?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's better than maybe every movie we talked about
Might be
today.
better than The Big Short.
Not.
Ah,
It's not
I
better
don't
than Sing Street. I'll tell you that. It's not better than Sing Street. I'm telling you, watch it. Watch it. I'm a guy who really likes music, and especially in movies. Like I went, The Greatest Showman is not a good movie.
I
But
love Showman.
I dug the songs. The movie itself is the songs are the highlight of the movie. I'll just say. But I watched that movie in theaters 3 times. I'm sure Dan did the same.
You're telling me in a musical, the music is the highlight?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
See, this isn't a musical though. This is a
The Greatest
story.
Showman?
No. The Sing Street. I'm telling you,
Oh,
it's so good, so good. Better than The Big Short and The Big Sick.
That's some big work right there. I'll have to check it out.
Connor, do you want to start by recommending a movie for everyone?
Yeah. I'll start. So I'm gonna recommend 50-50 today. Have either of you seen this?
Yeah,
I've
I've seen it. Good
Okay.
movie.
Stone, I think you should definitely check it out. I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt's best, probably. Available to stream on Prime. And it is just kind of a story about how cancer will fuck your life.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't always love Seth Rogen, but like that's a very good movie. And
I think Seth Rogen is a great producer. I don't love all his movies.
He's a very good producer. Correct. Just all of his stuff is usually pretty good. I think one thing that, like the one flop that I can think of right off the top of my head is that that comedy with girls last year that had Stephanie Shu in it. What was that? Girls Trip, I think. I think that's wrong. But he produced that. And unfortunately, that didn't do very well. That's just why I'm saying that. But
that's a good pick, Connor. Movie I love. There's this movie on Netflix. It's about the Pop Tart, how they created that. Jerry Seinfeld's in it.
I heard it was
It's really good. It's called Unfrosted. So definitely give that one a watch. That's good. Also, don't watch that. But
Did you watch it?
yeah,
I watched
You recorded it.
23 minutes of it, and then I fast forwarded to the end. So
that's a watch. That's a good watch.
yeah. But anyway, I watched Rope, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie, and it's streaming on Prime, and it's so fucking good. And it also has Jimmy Stewart. I just talked about in It's a Wonderful Life. It's like not even 90 minutes, and basically it just starts with a murder in a apartment by these two guys, and then they hide the body, and then there's a party in the apartment right after. And the one guy who's the one killer, is basically like a complete sociopath who's just like, this is hilarious, like this is so much fun, it's so exciting, like these people like are all idiots, they don't know like we killed this guy. And the other guy's like more likable, and he's more like, what are like, I don't know about this. Also like having more regret about what happened. And then Jimmy Stewart plays this guy who knows both of them, who comes to the party, and he kind of develops a sense of as to what happened. And the guy who they killed was supposed to be at the party too. And his girlfriend comes, and it's just like, it's so good. I give it 5 stars. It's just like really, really, really well executed. Like all of his suspense, everything he does well in like a tight story that like anyone would like. I'm probably going to talk about it in a video soon. Plus, it's very accessible. Like if you want to get into his movies, it's quick, it's like snappy, it's really good. So that's my pick. It's on Prime Video, and it's free.
I'll say mine. The director actually has a film that's in theaters this weekend. Came out in theaters wide this weekend. I was so excited to go and see it that it was limited release in New York and LA. So I took a train and went and saw it in New York because I was very excited. And I would say that movie's I saw the TV Globe, but on my way to the city, I watched their first film. The director is Jane Schoenbrunn. I think this is their first film, but it's We're All Going to World's Fair. I was very impressed, and I liked it better than I saw the TV Globe. And that's not the common consensus with I Saw the TV Glow. But We're All Going to the World's Fair is a story about a little girl, probably 13 or 14, who has a very bad life and is also obsessed with internet culture and just trying to go viral, not only for the sense of being famous in a way, but also just for friends. Like she'll post videos and she'll say out loud, like while she's walking, like 25 views. Like she knows, you can understand that she's very frustrated with this. But in order to gain some traction, there is a horror viral not meme, but game online that's going on. It's like a role playing game, and it's called We're All Going to the World's Fairs Challenge. So she, in a way, plays it to not only to hopefully get people to watch her videos because that's what she wants. And she's also had some really troubling things with her past. So there's like some ritual you do at the beginning, and all of a sudden, she started the World's Fair, and you're supposed to record any changes in your life afterwards, because that's the shtick is, oh, you go crazy when you do this. So it's about her basically talking about her inner demons of her past, but also thinking that those will come back because she thinks that she's somewhat getting changed by this challenge. It's very interesting. Um, there's also, I don't think this is a spoiler, but like 20 to 30 minutes in, there's someone who contacts her who is actually the one who orchestrated the challenge. And he saw her because he looks up videos about the challenge on YouTube. And he gets very concerned for her because he thinks that she's taking this game further than it should be taken, and he doesn't know what the end game is kind of going to be for her. Very, and it's very low budget movie, but I thought it was very impressive. There's a lot of like long takes. Something I just enjoyed was the fact that subtle things that people do with YouTube videos or TikTok videos is they're filming themselves before they start recording. They notice something in the background is wrong, so she fixes it real quick, and then she doesn't like the lighting on her face, so she takes her lamp and angles it a different way towards the camera. It's just little things like that that I think the long takes that are kind of abundant in this movie really are appropriate in a sense, but it's very good. Like I said, it's a very hot take that it's not better than I Saw the TV Glow, but that's my take on it. I do think it's better, but very good movie.
Where's it available?
I think it's available on Max. I didn't know that. I talked to my brother. I was like, "Hey, this movie's great." He's like, "Oh, it's available on Max." I was like, "Shit, I mentioned it." Well, $3 down the drain, but it's okay. Very good though.
This looks like divisive review-wise, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's really special, especially I think why I rated it so high. I think it is so impressive for a directorial debut. I think it is a directorial debut.
Okay.
And it did a lot for the director because they have another one called A Self-Induced Hallucination. So maybe I'm wrong on that. But the director Jane, they have such big ideas, and I really fit their vibe a lot. I Saw the TV Glow. I feel like I don't know if you guys know this, but it's like an allegory about the trans community and queer community. That's why I think I didn't connect with it as much, is because maybe I didn't understand some elements in the film. But this is not that. It's something different. But the way they use music, shots, it's really impressive. Like I think Jane's going to be a director that people talk about for a very long time, and that makes me really excited. But yeah, are you guys going to see I Saw the TV Glow at all? Are you? I know you can't
Yes.
really travel that much, Connor. Oh, Dan, you are? Okay. I'm excited. I'm interested to see what you think about it. It is a unique and one of a kind movie. I will say that. But
Wait, so this director is trans as well? They transitioned
yes.
because it says they directed A Self-Induced Hallucination as Dan Schoenbrunn, and then
Oh, okay.
and also that was only, I mean, that's an hour long, so like this, you could call this a debut. I mean,
Yeah. But this is what got them recognition, because
yeah,
after this, I Saw the TV Glow's A24. This wasn't A24. So, like I said, I think this is going to
oh
be
wow,
Robert
they
Eggers.
they
Right.
also, I'm sorry, Stone. They also did the music video for Lucy Dacus song "Night Shift" that I really really like. I
The
just
song or
watched
the video, both.
the song. I haven't seen the video, but it's a good
Oh,
song.
there you go. So, very one of a kind. I'll say. Oh, they also produced a film with that one guy Adam Pearson that I really like that I've done videos about with facial.
Yeah.
They produced a video with him or a movie with him in it. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, we're all going to the World's Fair. He's very impressive for a directorial debut, I would say. Not a lot of money, but just a whole lot of creativity. So
They also did a short in 2019 called "Dick Pics," a documentary that says it's a short stop-motion animated documentary that gathers men from all walks of life and asks them one of the most important questions of the modern era: what compels you to send pictures of your penis to non-consenting others?
nice.
So if anyone's looking for a short documentary, there's that as well.
Damn, what MLB owner was doing that?
MLB owner?
Yeah,
I missed that story.
that was a few years ago, and didn't Brett Favre do the same thing?
Yeah, Brett Favre is a bad person on
Same-
all accounts.
the
It
Packers.
was the Mets. It was the Mets manager, of course.
That's
Fucking
it.
scumbag franchise.
It's the Packers always have some interesting quarterbacks.
I hate the
Just gotta
Mets.
wait for Jordan Love.
I hate the Mets more than any other professional sports team in the world.
Really?
Yes, more than the Cowboys, Giants, it's the Mets. Terrible fan base.
My least
Terrible
favorite
team.
organizations are definitely the Yankees and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
And
gotta watch out for those Yankees, Cowboys, Lakers fans out there, though.
Literally. It's funny. I got a buddy who's a Yankees fan. Actually, my best friend, probably. He married Taylor and I. He's a Yankees fan. And, but he's a good reason for it. His dad played for like the minor league team. It's like, I'll accept him being a Yankees fan. But he hates the Dodgers more than he hates the Red Sox. And he's from LA.
Yeah, I mean, Dodgers are annoying, but like they just always lose in playoffs, so like you can't take them seriously at all. Like they just will never ever win anything. So I don't know. I don't care.
Terrible thing. I just check out when y'all talk sports, to be honest. I've been sitting over here like looking up things about this director. I'm like, yeah, romance films, but now we're talking about Brett Favre,
Jack Nerd and I are going to do a live on June 1st for UFC.
Nice. That'll be fun.
I like UFC. I like people beating the shit out of each other. I feel like everyone enjoys that. My wife doesn't, but a lot of people do.
I was gonna say my wife hates when I watch it, so she usually just knocks out. But there's a fight that night that him and I are going back and forth on. It's the one that I made comparing Drago and Rocky.
Which fight, Connor?
Islam versus Poirier.
Okay. That'll be a good fight.
Yeah.
I don't follow it that much, so
I don't want to like try and pronounce Islam's last name. But
Is it Makayev?
it might be.
I think it is.
There's a very funny clip of Joe Rogan interviewing him after a win, and Joe Rogan's drunk. And he like just starts to try, and he's like, yeah, Islam, and then he's on.
Yeah, I don't think Poirier has a fucking single chance in hell, but
I got money on Poirier.
God be with you. Bet on the side, or?
I say I have money on him. I have $5 on Poirier. So
Okay, that's fair.
When I gamble, like my highest money I've ever put down on anything was $10. So
I gambled a lot on blackjack in a casino, and I lost big. It's about as much as I've done.
I've never been to a casino. So.
Yeah, the only thing I know how to do in a casino, really, besides slot machines, is blackjack. I learned on my cruise that I went on not too long ago. I'm pretty good at blackjack. I mean, now, do I have the funds to show for it or the profit? No, but I think I got better on the cruise.
Blackjack is a game where, like, if you're smart, I feel like you can do pretty well. Like, you can, and if you know when to leave the table, you can make money playing blackjack in small increments.
Or if you use Dana White's method.
What's that?
Dana White?
Yeah, he literally said if you play blackjack, you put down $10,000, and if you lose, then the next hand you put down 20, and if you lose, the next hand you put down 30. He goes, eventually you're going to win your money back.
Or you just go broke.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah,
but
we don't all have Dana's expendable income.
I wish I had the funds to be able to be like, yeah, I threw down $50,000 on a blackjack hand last night.
Can't imagine.
Speaking of money, how little transition into next episode. How much do you think Mad Max Saga is going to open up with? I'm hoping 60. I'm hoping a flat 60. It's got the old Chris Pratt Garfield to go up
That sounds
against.
high.
60, you think? It's high?
Yeah, sadly.
I don't know. What are the projections right now?
I was gonna say like 50.
I think there's a lot of like incel ass people that are like, I don't want a female lead my Mad Max movie. Like, so I don't know how much they'll take away from it, but
That was a good impression.
thank you. I've been working on that.
It says 40 to 50, maybe all right. And then Garfield's at 35.
I'm sorry. Who is seeing that?
Both
Kids.
Who is the target market?
Maybe me. You don't know. I could be a Garfield head, you know? Lasagna. I like lasagna. I like a good lasagna every now and then. My wife does not. She doesn't
I
like
mean,
ricotta.
lasagna is elite, but
Yeah. I love lasagna.
My stepmom got so pissed at me when I was like, I don't know, 9, because I like swore up and down I did not like lasagna besides my Aunt Michelle's lasagna. So my stepmom went to her and was like, hey, what's your recipe? And it was just Stouffer's.
Man, it makes me want lasagna.
yeah, my
Man.
parents make a homemade lasagna that's really, really good from my grandparents.
I'm going to go throw a Quest protein pizza in the oven. Yum, yum. It's
Not quite
terrible.
as satisfying.
They're expensive, though, but they're not terrible.
I believe it.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week. We're going to have Mitch on, correct?
Yes.
An actual Australian. Ugh, that was bad, but accents are coming back. But I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. Talking about all the Mad Max movies.
But now I'm all sorts of excited because I'm just going to ask shark questions the entire time.
Yeah, that's your dude. I love your shark ranking videos so much. I'd watch that every day. They're literally the best.
We have like our little title card at the very bottom, like Connor's Shark Hour. Just talk a whole hour.
You should
about
have like
sharks.
a shark of the week for each episode. You do like a little segment on your favorite shark of the week.
I will happily bring that on. I didn't
I
know
would love that.
Wanted more shark content.
There's not a whole lot of it out there.
You can corner the market.
Honestly, yeah, the last guy who I saw did shark content was using the tracking app, and now he just puts up pictures of Trump on his lives and debates people.
Nice.
Should go back to sharks.
Literally. It's funny because I've had that app for tracking sharks on my phone since like 2016, and he just got over like 2 million followers just from talking about different sharks on there.
Jeez.
Damn.
Yeah, make sure you get in your head what shark you want to talk about next week with Mitch.
You could also just make a different account and just talk about shark shit too.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
Or I'll just start posting it.
Yeah, I mean, who the fuck? It doesn't matter what
Hey,
you
your
post.
movie Shark. Yeah, your movie Shark. You can post about both of them.
Literally,
Yeah,
my
movie
bio
and
is, I like movies and sharks.
There you go.
All right, anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited for next week though because of our guests, the movies, the Mad Max movies, and also sharks. Man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, it was first time watch for all of them for me. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and rewatch.
You had never seen Fury Road?
I haven't seen any of them.
I know. Oh boy, I just got done rewatching Fury Road yesterday. You haven't watched it yet, have you?
No.
Or have you? Holy shit! Fury Road is incredible, my guy. It is insane.
I'm
I'm
gonna find a
so
reason
excited.
to like it just to piss you off.
Oh, it's like so hard not to like. It is so creative and insane and beautiful. It fits into the Mad Max world perfectly. We'll talk about this all next week, but good Lord, I'm on a Mad Max high at the perfect moment. Got a new movie coming out. Oh boy. I'm excited. Dan seems really excited down there too.
This is my excitement. It's what it looks like. I'm sorry.
Do you really like Fury Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. I'm not gonna lie. It's.
I'm seeing Furiosa on Thursday at 3. So
I'm seeing Furiosa at Thursday at 4. Way to beat me a little bit there. Whatever.
early as I could go, but I'm excited.
Excited for you, Connor. Let's get to it. Get out of here and watch first Mad Max movie. All right.
So should I even go downstairs and worry about finishing anyone but you?
No, it's a bad movie.
No. It's in Australia though. So there you go. Why is everything in Australia? The Fall Guy. Australia is the place to be. We're gonna be talking about it next week, but I'm pumped.
Yeah, can I just like give a hot take that like Sydney Sweeney hasn't impressed me in anything yet.
She impresses me a little bit. So
It's, and I think that's the only reason she's in shit right now. I don't know. That could just be me. But
did you watch Immaculate?
no.
She's
She was
solid.
good in it.
Immaculate. Yeah, she's solid. She's
Is
very.
that the horror
smart.
one that she was just in?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's very smart when it comes to. I respect her so much because she's really smart when it comes to the business side of Hollywood. She's very good at that. She's
Okay.
like you could like, talk about her acting if it's for you. If it's not for you, that's fine. But she's very smart at choosing projects and making money. Like I think Immaculate made a decent amount of money, and she like created that out of her, ass basically. That was like dead in the water, and she like
Okay.
revived it. So, and then she's also going to be in a biopic. I heard about it like a boxer or something like that, and she did kickboxing or something growing up, and I'm really excited for that. But
And
I
she's
don't
doing
think she's going to go away anytime soon.
the Barbarella remake too.
Yeah, very smart.
But also, she was in Reality last year, which is super fucking interesting. I liked it a lot. Was about like an NSA whistleblower that got arrested and got like the book thrown at them. And it's very, very interesting. And the movie is just the script of the movie is the transcript of her interview at her house by the FBI. And it's really fucking interesting. And it's not, I mean, it's nothing to do with how she looks. The movie's just about, she's like just acting. And it's very uncomfortable and like, it's worth watching. It's on Max, I think. So that was good. Reality last year. And it's a true story, which you should know. So,
All right. Any closing thoughts, boys?
Really excited. Romance is good. I'll watch some more. Really excited for Furiosa. That's about it.
I was gonna say, if you're on Spotify, there'll be a question down below about what's your favorite romance. Feel free to fill that out.
Hell yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's always a Q&A and then just a question down below on all of our Spotify episodes.
There you go.
So always fill that out, rate us 5 stars, and we'll catch you next week.
bye, everyone.
Thanks.